Hey folks. Alright, so I don't know if I'm going to go fishing yet this morning, but I thought I would give you guys a kind of a glimpse of where I am. You're going to love it. So here I am. This is downtown Anchorage up here. That's the beginning of it, and of course it goes all the way back that way. Drove down here in the Suzuki, which of course I don't go very far in. Well, not lately anyway. And so we're right down here by Ship Creek, and I just wanted to stop down and see if anyone was catching anything. I haven't seen any fish hooked yet, but it's still early in the day. But finally, just a beautiful day today, which we haven't had much of. Again, this is Ship Creek, and you see a couple of folks fishing. Mountains up back behind. I mean, think about it. You're right down here. You're in the middle of we call it a city. It's only about 350,000 people, but good sized town, right? And so you can come right down here. Right now the Kings are running, and what folks are trying to do up here is they're trying to get them to pick up on some kind of a lure one way or another. These guys are all fly fishing. This guy over here, I think he's using a spinner, which a lot of people have been successful with down here. So I thought I'd come down and just look around, and I'm gonna walk over here and go a little further down the river here, or the creek, I should say. But this whole thing is kind of a tidal area, and when it's high tide, this is 10 feet deep in water. Anyway, couldn't ask for a more beautiful day today. We haven't had very many of those this year. It's been a pretty cold and wet springtime, and so if you look at the grass over there, that all goes underwater when the tide is high, and you can see how muddy this stuff gets down here. It's just sloppy. So the port of Anchorage is right over there. You can see all the containers stacked up. This is kind of an industrial area down here next to the rail. And then you know, it's just nice to have someplace here that where, you know, we can just come down on an afternoon. Or, you know, whenever you got a few hours and just cast a line and, you know, try your luck. So, I'm gonna head back over. I'll get back in the car and drive over to another spot where I usually park when I fish down here, and it's kind of closer to the you know, the outlet to the ocean, and you can see the mud flats and whatnot down there. And excuse me. Yeah, it used to be all free parking down here, but they changed that. Now you can't even find a place where you can park for any length of time and not have to and not have to pay. But, you know, I suppose the municipality has to find ways of coming up with funding for all the projects that they do. Trying to get you put in the spot here so that I can drive. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and drive over. Again, this is my 1987 Samurai. My other one, you probably couldn't tell the difference in. Except for that one's a lot nicer than this one as far as, you know, the body and the interior and stuff like that. Of course, this one is, you know, spent most of its life up here in Alaska, which is pretty harsh, and the other one spent its life down in Georgia. And although it has to put up with, you know, the sun beating down on it down there, up here, you know, you got 6 months of snow and freezing cold. It is rough sometimes, and then even when spring finally does get here, sometimes the weather's just not conducive, you know, to getting out and having a good time. Now, this area that we're going to over here, sorry about that. We're on kind of a little dirt road here. haven't paved that part yet. Alright, we're back on the pavement again. Alright, sorry about that. I bumped the dang button and shut off the camera for a second. But I'll park up here just in 100 yards and then I'll show you around. This is one of my favorite spots to come to. They'll drop some pretty big boats in here. All right, let me get you out of this spot. All right, get my stand back to square. And when you see the mud out here, you're just gonna be blown away. It's just crazy. All right. Okay, so here we are. Again, the port over here, Air Force Base just beyond that. Look at here, we've got a, what is that, a C-130? What's coming up? No, that's a, is that a C-5? Yeah, taking off. And just look at all this mud. Just mud, mud, mud. I love this area down here though, it's just so panoramic. And so we got a guy over there fishing at the mouth. I've fished there a couple of times, it's pretty good. Back up this way, you can see the Chugach Mountains. Over here you got a little bit more view of Anchorage, and it's pretty nice this time of year. More mud down that way. You know, there was a whale washed up down there. It was dead earlier in the year, and it crazy. People walking out on the mud to just walk out and touch the whale. I mean, it's kind of strange. And over there, they're building another port over there called Port McKenzie, and eventually the goal is, if you see where the point comes out over there, to put a bridge across right there, and to connect up the two ports, and then the rail line will go right over there as well. And then if you were going to drive from here to Port McKenzie right now, it would probably take you an hour and a half, maybe more, in order to get there. And it's you know, part of it is a pretty rough drive, I gotta tell you. And so they're constantly dredging the slop out of the port. But over on that side, it's not too bad. they don't have to do too much dredging because this is the Knik River. It's really Knik, but it's K-N-I-C-K. I'm sorry, K-N-I-K. Oops, I'm almost falling down here. And so the major flow is on that side, which keeps it kind of deeper on there because it washes everything out. But over here, this is kind of a little backwater spot, and they have to be constantly dredging, which you can see them doing over there. So, you know, this is a pretty big operation here with the port and the rail and everything all in one location. City of Anchorage. Over there is the international airport, and you can see an airplane over there. I think they're coming in for a landing. Right over there, that's Mount Spur. That's the volcano that everybody's been worried about. Just kind of sticking up here above the clouds. Mount Susitna right there. They call that the Sleeping Lady. You can't really see the shape of it right now, but it looks like a woman laying down. Yeah. So this is, you know, it's still springtime here in Alaska. And, you know, I'm over here by the water, and so the temperature of the breeze blowing in off the water is probably, I don't know, in the 40s, maybe 50 degrees. But back up in the area, back in town, back beyond the city, you know, even though it's 50 degrees here next to the water, back over there it'll be 70, 80 degrees in the residential areas between here and the mountains. It's funny, you can see of course the snow upon the mountains. Most had melted off. I don't know if you can tell, but a lot of that snow is brand new. Even though it's June, we had a system come through, and it had some colder air in the upper atmosphere, and so everything above about 3,500 feet got hit with a couple feet of snow up there, which I guess that's par for the course, right? It is Alaska, they say, and it's probably not really true, but they say that there isn't a day in Alaska during the year where it doesn't snow somewhere. That could be true, I don't know. But I have fished out here where this guy is at. Again, it's pretty muddy down there. I don't like to walk down there very much, but you know, I'll cast out where he's at, but right out into the current, and it's interesting because there's, you know, you can catch flounder right there. I've caught a bunch of flounder just casting there from shore. Boat launches, and you can see just by, you know, how high the water comes up. That's all the seaweed over there, so the water comes up, well, you know, that dock will float way up, and it'll be almost to the top of those poles when the tide comes in. The tides here in Cook Inlet are some of the most extreme in the world. There's only one other place that has average higher tides than here in Cook Inlet, and that's the Bay of Fundy over on the east coast of Canada. So you can imagine, I mean, so the tides that we get in here, the difference between high and low tide is, I think the average difference between high and low is close to 20 feet. I think the Bay of Fundy is 24 feet, so it's pretty significant. I would park down here and then walk and go fish, but you know, I'm just worried that somebody will vandalize the Sammy, because of course I can't lock it because it's got the rag top on it. So locking the doors doesn't do much good when they can just unzip the back. But yeah, I'll probably come down and actually fish later on today. Like I said, it pisses me off that the city has made all of these parking spots into pay for parking, and then they charge $1 an hour. It's not the money; it's the principle of the thing, right? That's what's irritating to me. Oofda. Oofda. Now, I don't mind telling you that even though I've got a couple of layers on standing out there in the wind, I got a little bit chilled. So maybe I should stop at home and put on a jacket before I come back this afternoon. But maybe by then it'll have warmed up significantly, but I should probably have one with me anyway. Yeah, that sounds good. Just to keep things without getting too messy, you can see I got fishing poles up on a little hanging rack here. They keep falling. You don't want the eyes to break off. But I got my fly rod right here, my Tamiko, and then I got a little trout pole spinning rig, and then I got my big salmon pole. I'll probably use this afternoon, maybe the fly rod as well. I do gotta clean up this car. I'm just looking around, it's such a mess. I mean, looking in the back here, I got nets over here, a couple of small collapsible fishing poles just in case my grandson comes with, my cooler, some boots, some shoes to go with my waders. I got my waders up here. I got a tackle box down here. I got my Diet Dews down over there. If I had a bigger vehicle, it'd probably be super messy. Anyway, I suppose I will let you go and maybe make another video this afternoon when I go fishing. Okay, I'll give it a shot and I will chat with you later. Bye.